Hey guys, welcome. My name is Dan. Today I'm going to be speaking about a tactic that the gang stalkers will use. So, if you're going through this, you're going to be able to relate to this for sure. And that's kind of the reason why I'm making it, is just like to let you know, as odd and as crazy as the things you experience, there are other people that experience the same thing. So, yeah, explain that, like I've noticed that they use a certain tactics, like a formula, that's all bunched in under this like targeted individual experience. So I'm just here to share one of the tactics, and then how it played out for me. Um, I'm just gonna put a term on it because I've heard this term, and it that made sense to me. It's flashcarding, right? So it's like when you see the same person in throughout your day or throughout your week, and that could be like um, it could be like in the same locations, or it could be in different towns, but this person may be um, one person at this point when you meet them, and then you meet the same person, but it's like their personality or their job or like they're different, you know might be like a police officer, and then you see someone and he's a doctor the next time you see him. I've heard stories about that, and um, there's been some weird things that have happened in my story. So I'm gonna share, basically, and if you guys can relate, then awesome. That's why I'm making these videos, just to let you know that other people have experienced these things as well. So I'll share this one. So this was when I was living on the street, right? And I knew these people that also stayed on the street, right? I would get high with them, hang out with them. And so it was like this all happened like pretty quickly after I accepted Christ in my life and was seeking God, but I was also still really lost, and my life had actually got really bad. So I hadn't always been homeless. Like, this was like a new thing, but I was basically running from any sort of wisdom that any of my friends or my family would give me, and just in my shame and guilt. And that's why I'd ended up on the street. Not because I didn't have options, but because I was like, basically, like, I'm sick of being this person that I am to these people in my life. So I'm going to remove myself, and I won't be an issue for them. And that's still a really selfish way of looking at it, but it made sense to me at the time. It's not a good idea, and I definitely wouldn't do that now. Basically, it was me being stubborn and rebellious, and yeah, non-compliant with what any wisdom said. Right? So I was just gonna go do my own thing and live on the street, and you know. So I knew these people, and I started noticing weird things. Right, and this is right at the beginning. I noticed people were coming to where I stayed and hanging out and watching me, and it was just a really weird vibe. They're watching me, and then they're also doing their little signals to each other, and it's like I noticed it's like they're everywhere around me. Like, they're all in spots that this one could signal over here, and this one could signal over here, and it's like they seem to be, really concerned with me, which I was thrown off by, obviously, right? So I would leave my camp trying to get away from it, but it's like it followed me wherever I went, and it just got weirder and weirder. So the flashcarding issue, right? So these people that I knew from where I was staying at, I would leave trying to get away from the people that were watching me. And I would see these people that are literally like street bums, right? Shot out, missing teeth, all beat up, uh, you know, just basically dying from drug use and homelessness. And I would see these people uptown, like it was almost like it was the same person, but it was like in a different life. And I still don't understand how they did this but I saw this dude named Scarecrow that I was like, kind of friends with. And it's like, I seen this dude's just like beat up, you know what I mean? But I seen him downtown in a 3-piece tailored suit, like looking so dapped out, right? And it's like he had a briefcase, he had a fresh cut, like he had all his teeth, and it looked like he was going to be a lawyer on like a high profile case. Like dude looked sharp. And I'm like, huh, that's crazy. And so like I just don't really know what to think about it, right? But that was just like the first time. This ended up happening over and over and over again with different people that I knew. Like another girl that was a prostitute that I knew, like an old prostitute, right? I seen her like dressed nice in like a nice dress, and she was just like a normal, like older looking lady, but like she had her stuff together and she was happy, and it was so confusing. I saw another girl, same thing, like she went from being all on these drugs and like nodded out all the time and sloppy, like to like having like a family. And like I seen her uptown. It was just like, it was so strange because I'd be like, how are they doing this, right? Like there's no way the makeup's this good. Like I watch these people do drugs and like who they are, right? Now I'm seeing them in a totally different like character, or whatever. And like I would go back to the block and they would be there, like I just seen them, and then I come back and they're like their normal selves, like. So I don't know. That was really strange. Let me know if you got stories like that. Like I said, I've heard people like having different occupations, like they get pulled over by a cop and then they end up in the hospital a couple days later, and it's the cop, but now he's the doctor type deal. So another one was like, for me, a lot of these things wouldn't really happen when I was with someone, unless that person like was doing something, like their attention was elsewhere. Then like the stalking was still around me, but it wouldn't be really visible to anyone else. So like one of those times, another like flashcard thing, what I noticed was this. Sorry if I'm bouncing around, but so they'll do something to make an imprint, like a mental imprint on you. And what I mean is like they'll do something out of the ordinary to catch your eye and make you like, make a note of them, a mental note of them. And then the second time they'll also do something to make sure they're seen, right? To catch your eye again and let you know like it's me again type deal. And so that tells you right there they're doing it for an effect, right? They want to be seen and they want you to take note of them. And so how this played out was like I was with my ex, and I had told her what was going on with me, because like I said, this was kind of early on, as like I'm trying to figure all this out. I didn't really understand it. I'm just experiencing it at this point, and I'm really like confused. And so I thought I could tell her what was going on because she knew me super good, right? I was like, she'll believe me for sure, right? I'm sure you guys can relate to that. And like I told her, and she's like, oh my gosh, Dane, you're going schizophrenic, and started crying, right? And I was like, oh man. So that, like, yeah, that was fun. So then at that point, I was like, I can't really tell anyone what I'm going through. So I was with her, and we were at this fast food spot, and like this dude, first of all, someone pulled up. My girl knew them. She went and talked to them, and I was like by myself sitting like on this curb, and this dude was walking by, and he walks over towards me, and then he starts just walking like circles around me. And like the first one, I didn't say anything, right? Because okay, maybe he's turning around, but he just kept doing that like a few times. Like I'm not saying in a wide radius around me, like right, like directly around me, like in my space, walking circles around me. And so obviously I'm like, I like checked the guy. I'm like, what are you doing? What's up? You know? And I'm like, I'm getting like loud with him because I'm like sick of this stuff going on, right? Anyways, by this point, you know, now the attention is back on me from my ex, and she's like, all she sees is like this guy, like walking away from me, and I'm yelling at him, right? So he did his thing, and then was leaving. So I'm yelling at him like, "What's your problem, dude? Where, like, what are you trying to do?" And my girlfriend's like, "See, like you're acting crazy again. Like you know, it's just like a whole gaslight, you know, episode here. Like, dude gets a reaction out of me, and then when I start reacting, he's like acting like I'm the one messing with him, right? And that's another tactic, right? But we won't get into that. So my point is, later that day, I was on the other side of the city, right? And this dude's like a street dude, right? That circled me. And so I leave my camp, and I'm walking around this corner, and this guy, I can't even remember what he said. He said something weird, so I turned around and looked at him. And it's the same dude, right? Like miles away from where I was at earlier, in a different part of the city. This dude's right next to like my campsite, and wanted me to see him, right? Same dude, the guy that circled me. And so, I'll share one more about the imprinting and then seeing them again. So I went to this office that's like, I don't know, they kind of like help out people that are on the street and stuff. And I went there to use a phone, you know, and when I was leaving there was this guy, and, you know, the role that he was kind of in or whatever, the person that I saw him as, he just seemed like he was like almost slow because of what he was singing and how he looked. He had like this dopey little mustache, right? And he's like, I have a mustache, you know, and he's like going on, and it was kind of funny, honestly. And so like I was like laughing, and I was like, yep, you do, nice mustache, bro, you know. And then it was a couple of days later, I was with these two girls, and we're up to no good. Anyways, I was taking them to the spot that I knew. Anyways, we walked under this overpass, or this underpass, across like this freeway, and we get to the other side. And again, this is miles away from where I was at like a couple days ago. And this dude, the dude that sung the mustache song, like jumps out of these bushes, and he has a hatchet, and he's freaking out on like me mostly, and the girls are all freaked out. And he's like, no, you can't come up here. And he's like swinging his axe, right? And or his hatchet. It was like a hatchet looking deal. And I'm like, dude, we're just trying to get through. We're not gonna mess with any of your stuff. Like, and he's not having it. Like, he's like giving me like the "you shall not pass" aggressively, right? And he starts screaming at us, turn around, and walk. He's like, go back to where you came, you know. And so like, I look and there's a bunch of cars coming, and like, I'm like, we're going, you know, we're gonna go. Hold on, chill out, you know. So, someone here. Someone here. Anyways, yeah. So that's the flashcarding. Something you will experience for sure. Check you guys later. Someone's coming. I don't want to be on the video like a weirdo.